When Milo takes off into the teeth of that storm, he's not running toward anything. He's just running. You ever get that feeling? Like if you stop, even for a second, all the bad things catch up. He stumbles across the last refuge he can find, the front step of the Iron Saints motorcycle clubhouse. Rain's pouring down, his body's battered and barely holding together, and he's more scared of being sent back than he is of anything else out there. It starts off with a simple offer of safety, but pretty soon, the Iron Saints turn into something Milo never dared hope for: family, healing, and a kind of love that comes slow and careful, building trust where none existed before. That's what this is about. It's survival, real and raw, with trust chipped out of a history of disappointment. It's the family you cling to not because you share blood, but because you survived something together. It's a story about loyalty, scars you can't see, and the kind of romance that doesn't rush in but waits until you're ready. The night Milo finally tore himself free, the rain was so heavy even blood looked ordinary. It ran in watered-down streaks down his cheeks, pink and thin. It soaked right through the shredded shoulder of his hoodie. Everything hurt: his ribs, his legs, his left arm hanging, all but useless. Pain throbbed up and down his body. His fingers had gone numb a while back. Every step was a kind of surrender. Thing is, he had no clue where he was headed. That's the truth that digs the deepest. Running is supposed to mean you're going somewhere, but for him, the only thing behind him was his father's snarl, the dark shape of men in the house, whiskey stink, a grip on his wrist, and then the door slamming open. If he stayed another night, he wouldn't be left at all. He'd be just a scrap of a person, burned out inside. So Milo ran. First barefoot, then in whatever shoes he could grab, no socks. He cut through alleys, crossed puddle-slick streets, past shuttered shops and a flickering laundromat sign, his legs getting weaker with every block. By the time he hit the busted-up, grimy edge of town, the part no one visits if they don't have to, he could barely keep his eyes open from pain. Everything out there was bricks and rust and abandoned hope, with chained doors and broken windows, except one place. That building pulsed with music, low and thick, the walls humming like a heart that refuses to quit. The Iron Saints sign above the door blinked red and black, neon trying to shine through the storm. He didn't know what the Saints were, but the light called to him. He stepped forward, just one more, and the ground slid away. Or, well, his knees simply gave out. He smacked onto the pavement so hard his lungs forgot how to pull in air. His arms screamed. For a second, he couldn't move at all. That's when the door banged open. Voices, boots tramping through the rain, shapes looming over him. One man's voice swore, rough around the edges, but not like the voices Milo grew up with. Older, not slurred or mean. Milo tried to crawl off. His body said, "No." The man got lower, careful, but he didn't grab him. "Look at me," he said, calm as rain. Milo met his eyes. He saw a leather vest and rain-dark shoulders, rings all over his fingers, tough hands, but not the kind that hit. The man's hair was dark with gray at the edges, his beard short. The patch on his chest was an Iron Saint's halo, pale eyes, clear and steady, not cruel, but definitely hard. Trying to answer, Milo tasted blood. The man's eyes changed, went even more focused. Dangerous, maybe, but not uncontrolled. "Bear, get Ruth!" the man yelled behind him. Milo tried to squirm back, but the man's voice softened. "No one here is going to hurt you." Skeptical didn't even begin to cover Milo's reaction. He sort of laughed, though it came out more like a cough. He hardly believed in safety now. But the man caught the meaning, shrugged out of his leather vest, and set it over Milo, blocking the rain. "What's your name?" he asked. Milo thought about lying. too tired. Milo, that was enough. I'm Saint, the man said quietly. This is my place. You need help. I'll give it, unless you want me to stop. Rain blurred Saint's features. Milo begged, small and hoarse. Don't send me back. Saint's jaw went tight, his eyes storm dark. Never. That was all Milo heard before he blacked out. Next thing, he came around to antiseptic, old leather, brewed coffee, and some woodsy undertone. For a second, he really thought he'd woken up back home. Fear yanked him upright, and the pain nearly knocked him out all over again. He gasped, curled up, and felt strong hands get close but not touch. Easy, sweetheart. Breathe, a woman said. She was sitting next to him, radiating don't-mess energy, black braided hair stiff with gray, tattoos all the way down, holding a mug that announced world's okayest grandma like a challenge. Milo, half scared and half awed, stared as she introduced herself. Ruth, club medic. And if he tried standing again, she threatened to sit on him. He asked, Where am I? She told him. The Iron Saint's clubhouse. That was enough to make his heart rattle. He spotted Saint by the door, dry now except for his damp hair. He looked solid, more so in the light. Not huge, but built sturdy, like a wall you could actually lean on. His eyes went over Milo, checking every bandage, every bruise. Milo hid under the blanket. Saint looked away, respecting the line. You're safe, Ruth said again. Milo wanted to believe it. People like repeating that word as if it could conjure safety up by force. He asked what happened. Ruth kept it simple. He collapsed. They brought him in. She patched him up as well as she could. He needed a hospital. He shot that down instantly. No hospital. Not a chance. Saint wanted to know why. Milo didn't want to say, but the silence stretched, almost gentle. He choked out. They'll call him. Saint got it. His father. The air changed. The other man, bare, muttered something low. Ruth's mug slammed down. Saint pulled up a chair, kept his distance. He asked Milo's age, 16. When he pushed, wanting to know if his father did this, Milo couldn't say yes. He just said, That house did this. Saint let that be enough. Milo braced for more questions, for them to call his father for the same old procedure. He told Saint they had to. Saint disagreed. I've ignored worse rules for better reasons. Ruth and Saint argued about care. Saint promised anyone they called would be trusted, not a connection to his father. He swore they wouldn't just throw Milo back into the fire and call it help. That's what it felt like. The burning house, not a home, never a home, just fire and smoke. Saint's words pressed right into places Milo thought were dead. He turned his face away and nobody called him out for it. That was the first real kindness. Iron Saints weren't saints. Milo figured that fast. They swore like old sailors, hid bats and knives where they wouldn't be noticed. The cops hated them. The neighbors probably crossed the street to avoid them. But over those next 3 days, nobody heard him. Ruth handled his bandages with care she pretended not to have. Bear brought him food and sheepish apologies. Tasha, the fierce bartender, left out clean clothes without fuss. Ghost, the club's treasurer and tech guy, gave Milo a burner phone, no questions. Because teenagers with no phone are a disaster, Ghost deadpanned. Saint popped in every evening, never hovered, always asked before getting close. First night, a burger. Ruth had said no, Saint overruled. Milo ate it slow and nearly cried at the taste of pickles. Saint pretended not to notice. Next night, a beat-up Western novel. If you rid, Saint offered. Milo did. On the third night, it was Milo, awake and counting raindrops on the window above the garage. Saint asked if he'd slept. Milo shrugged, regretted it when the pain jumped. Saint joked that Ruth called everyone stubborn but only liked you once she'd said worse. Does she like you? Milo asked. Nah, she tolerates me, tax purposes. He almost grinned, Saint the same, until quiet settled in. Milo finally spoke. What happens next? Saint's face went serious. It's up to you, what you want, and what keeps you safest. Milo shut that down. Life wasn't about what he wanted. Saint met that with a quiet, it does here. Milo didn't believe him, but Saint didn't push. Saint explained. Ruth's sister, Elena, a retired social worker, would come by. She knew the system and how not to let Milo get lost inside it. Milo hated that option. I don't want foster care. Saint took that, said, not yet. And it wasn't cruel, just honest. Milo tried one more wall. He'll find me. Saint's expression changed, steeled. Then he'll wish he hadn't. It should have scared Milo, maybe it did, a little. But underneath everything, relief broke through, quiet and sharp. For the first time in a long while, he actually believed someone might be on his side. His father showed up on day 4. Milo sensed it before anyone said a word. It started with the shouting from downstairs. Didn't matter that the floor muffled his father's voice. Milo's body recognized it instantly. His stomach dropped out, his skin went icy, and the book in his hand hit the floor. You have no right, his father bellowed. Milo moved away from the bed, breathing sharp from pain in his ribs, but more from panic. There was only one window in the room, too small and too high to squeeze through. The door stood open, but going out meant heading straight toward the shouting. His lungs gave up. He choked on air. Then heavy footsteps thudded up the stairs. He grabbed the lamp with his one good hand, muscles trembling. Saint filled the doorway, halting the second he spotted Milo's grip on the lamp. Just me, he said. The lamp vibrated in Milo's grip. He's here. I know. Milo looked toward the stairs. He'll make you believe him. No. You don't get it. He lies. He makes everything sound normal. Saint moved slowly, showing his hands. He's not coming up these stairs. He's my father, Milo said, which sounded like it should mean something. Saint's face stayed firm, but something bruised crossed his eyes. That doesn't mean you belong to him. Milo eased up on the lamp. Downstairs, his father screamed his name. Milo jerked so hard the lamp nearly crashed to the floor. Saint took a single step closer, then stopped when Milo stiffened. You want Ruth up here? Milo just nodded, his mouth too tight to talk. Saint turned. Ruth. She materialized at the top of the stairs, shotgun cradled in her arms, her face all steel and thunder. Milo blinked. It's not loaded unless it needs to be, Ruth said. Not actually comforting, Saint muttered. It's not for you. Saint knelt by Milo's eyeline. I'm going down there. Ruth stays here. Door stays open. You aren't alone. He watched Milo struggle to speak, saying nothing, but Saint seemed to understand. I'll come back. Saint left. Milo tracked every floorboard. The shouting faded as Saint reached the main room. Time stuttered to a stop. Then Saint's voice drifted up. You're leaving. His father laughed. It grated. He's always been a liar. Always falls down the stairs, runs off, probably told you something wild. He didn't tell me anything. Then you don't know what you're mixed up in. I know enough. Someone scraped a chair. Milo sucked in air too fast, his heart sprinting. Ruth shifted closer but didn't crowd him. Breathe with me, sweetheart, she murmured. In through your nose, out slow. He can't get by me. Below, his father spoke in a low tone. The lack of words made Milo's jaw ache. Then Saint, louder so Milo could hear. If you ever come near him again, you go through me first. A crash exploded. Milo jolted upright. Ruth blocked the door completely. Bear roared something unintelligible. More noise, a smack, a grunt, and then nothing. Saint again. Get him out. Front door opens. Rain lashes inside. The slam rattles the house. Milo crumpled to the floor, arms locked around the lamp, rattling. Ruth crouched just close enough. You're here, she kept repeating. You're here, you're here. Milo pressed his forehead to his knees and cried as quiet as he could. Loud crying was dangerous, but Ruth didn't leave until the shaking stopped. Saint returned 10 minutes later with a split lip and bloody knuckles. Milo eyed the hands. Saint caught him looking and hid his fists behind his back. He's gone. For now. Saint's answer was a brief nod. Yeah, for now. Milo found comfort in that. No fake promises, no sugarcoating forever, just honesty standing like a shield. The next morning, Elena showed up in a lemon-yellow raincoat, folder under her arm, thermos in her hand. She looked like homemade soup and paperwork, soft where Ruth was sharp, voice gentle, but her eyes just as quick. She perched in the office chair, Saint's outline visible behind frosted glass outside the door, never in, always guarding. Elena caught Milo glancing that way. He'll wait unless you want him. Milo eyed the folder. You're here to move me somewhere. I'm here with options, she said. That's relocation talk. It can be, Elena admitted, but not today. She opened her folder. I can petition for an emergency kinship-adjacent placement. Ruth helps medically, I become your main home. Complicated, not guaranteed, but with your injuries, age, and a statement from you, if you want, it's possible. Milo's confusion must have showed. She smiled a little. That means you might stay with me instead of foster care. His throat closed. Why would you do that? She let sadness show on her mouth. Because Ruth asked. That's all? She nodded. Because Ruth asked. Because Saint called. Because I have space. Because you deserve safety. Pick whichever reason you like best. He looked down. None felt real, even though he wanted them to. Elena never grilled him about the night before. She asked what he needed, what scared him, if he wanted police involved. Milo spat out no, so fast his voice splintered. Elena just nodded, unfazed. Then we start with medical support and protection. The rest comes when you're ready. He twisted the blanket in his fists. What if I'm never ready? She looked at him softly. We protect you anyway. He cried again, hated it, but no one acted like it made him smaller. Moving in with Elena was weird. Weirder than running, somehow. The house was the color of sunlight, white trim, too many houseplants, the porch swing always creaking. Guest room. Blue curtains, a soft quilt, a lock on the door. Milo stared. Elena stood at his shoulder. You can use it, she said. He turned. The lock? Yes. Why? So you know the room is yours. His hand shook on the knob. Where he'd come from, locks trapped him in. Here, the lock was his shield. That difference ached. She showed him the kitchen. Anything here is yours. Just add it to the list if we run out. Shelf packed with cereal, crackers, soup, even pickles. Milo's eyes blurred. If you break something, just tell me. Nightmare? Wake me. Need space? Say it. Even if you hate me, I can handle it. Milo frowned. Too many rules. They're expectations. Rules mean punishment. Expectations mean we talk. What if I screw up? Elena smiled, leaning in the doorway. Then we handle it. That was it. No threats, no wariness, no anger waiting to bite. That night, Milo locked his bedroom door, burrowed under the quilt, stared at the ceiling until sunrise. He didn't run. Not running felt huge. Healing was ugly, not some movie montage. The cast itched. His ribs hurt when he tried to laugh. Bruises went purple, green, then sour yellow. His face looked normal before his dreams did. The dreams were worse. Sometimes he woke choking on words he couldn't say, sometimes clawing at the wall. Once he found himself barefoot on Elena's porch. No idea how he got there. Elena just wrapped a blanket around him and kept him company until sunrise, not pushing, not asking. Saint showed up later with a motion sensor for his bedroom. "I'm not a little kid," Milo said. Saint shrugged. "I know. So why bring it? Just so you know, if you leave before you mean to, you choose." Milo accepted the box. Their fingers brushed. He flinched. Saint backed off instantly. "Sorry." Milo burned with embarrassment, but Saint shrugged it off. "Your body's reflexes kept you alive. Don't punish it for that." That sentence stuck. Carried him through doctor appointments, paperwork, going back to school, the whispers, and the way people looked at him sideways. One day, a kid in gym muttered something about Milo and the biker club. Milo saw red. His fist flew. He didn't remember choosing, just knuckles cracking, someone dropping, shouting. He landed in the principal's office, trembling, convinced. I am him. I'm my father's kid. This is what he made. Elena came first. Saint stood in the doorway, stone-faced. The principal clearly wished Saint would vanish. "I'm suspended," Milo said afterward. "For 2 days," Elena answered. "I broke the kid's nose. He was cruel." "That doesn't excuse hurting him." They walked out of the school together. Saint stopped. "No," he said, "but it means you need to learn to live with anger before it controls you." Milo hesitated. "Wanting to hurt him? Does that make me like my father?" Saint stopped in the hall. Elena waited. "No," Saint said. "You can't know that." "I do, because you're afraid it does." Saint locked eyes with him. Bad men never worry about turning bad. They just keep hurting people and blame someone else. Milo's eyes filled. Elena brushed his shoulder. This time, he didn't flinch. The Iron Saints worked into Milo's life gradually. Elena drove him by on Saturdays. Ruth checked his healing. The others sat with him, quiet and present. Bear taught him to change oil. Milo made a mess, swore, and Bear almost fell over laughing. "Watch the language, little prince," Milo shot back. "You swear every other sentence." "I am an adult with damage," Bear intoned, deadly serious. Tasha's laughter rolled out of the doorway. Milo let a smile break through. Ghost taught him the books. "This place is one terrible invoice away from disaster," Ghost said. "You run 3 businesses," Milo pointed out. Ghost just rolled his eyes. "No one here can use a receipt." Saint taught him to listen, not just to people, but engines. "Hear that?" he asked, standing beside an old Chevelle. Milo frowned. "It sounds like chaos." "Exactly. There's a knock under the belt noise. Follow the rhythm." Rain drummed above. Milo listened, heard the broken heartbeat under the noise. "There," he said. Saint grinned just slightly. "Good." Milo was too proud. He held onto it fiercely. By 17, Milo wasn't bruised anymore, but his past didn't let go so easily. At 18, he graduated by a hair. Elena wept. Ruth wept and denied it. Bear roared openly. Ghost slipped him a card with money and a warning about compound interest. Saint handed him a helmet, black, silver stripe, all promise. "I don't have a bike," Milo said. "Not yet," Saint answered, "but you'll learn." Riding was a kind of freedom Milo had never imagined. The first time he went with Saint, knuckles went white, heart pounded, everything inside him humming. "Tap me if you want to stop," Saint yelled through the helmet. Milo held on. They rolled slow, the world whipped by, everything old and ugly left behind. No courthouse, no old house, no nightmares, just the road and Saint's steady back. At the lookout, Milo's hands shook, taking off his helmet. "I want to learn," he said. Saint's eyes went soft. "I'll teach you." And he did. Patient, careful. "Bike goes where your eyes go," he said again and again. Milo resented that saying. Then he realized it meant more than riding. At 19, Milo moved into the little apartment above Elena's old flower shop. Elena tried to act fine, but sent him home overloaded with food. The apartment was small, slant-ceilinged, bad plumbing, but Milo loved it, wild and fierce. That first night, he locked the door, unlocked it, locked it again, sat on the floor and cried, overwhelmed and for once unafraid. He worked at the garage by day, took business classes at night. Ghost called him almost useful. Tasha called him too pretty for Greece. Bear called him my kid, which Milo pretended to hate. Saint kept it simple. He handed Milo a box of tools with Milo Richmond engraved on the lid. His own name, just his. "Thank you," Milo said. Saint nodded. "You earned them." That made all the difference. By the time Milo hit 20, he stopped pretending he didn't notice Saint. It wasn't just glancing. He saw everything. Saint ordering his coffee black, making that grimace if a drop of sugar slipped in. Saint sneaking battered Western novels with cheesy covers inside motorcycle magazines, like the jackets could erase the evidence. He always remembered everyone's birthday, then acted like parties were a battle plan gone wrong. There was the way he clamped his mouth shut when pissed because silence felt safer than words. The way he gave Milo space. Lately, way too much. Milo wasn't the kid he'd been. Still lean, still all sharp corners, scars visible only if you knew how to look. But not fragile, not see-through. The days of silent drifting had passed. He laughed too loud now, argued with suppliers that tried to shortchange him. He rode a bike, his, rebuilt from junk with St. one feverish summer. People flirted at the bar, in the garage, at school. Not that it mattered. Milo barely noticed, not because he was scared, but because he craved the one person whose gaze always slipped away when things got too real. That was the problem. Saint wanted him. Milo felt it in every careful inch separating them, in the tense line of Saint's jaw when Milo worked tools in a tank top, in all those times Saint slipped out when the talk grew soft. Or the way his hand once hovered near Milo's back in a crowded bar. On the brink of instinct, then falling away before contact. Saint wanted him. But Saint would eat glass before he'd act on it. Milo used to admire how he could hold back. Then he just got tired. Everything snapped one humid Friday in August. The bar was packed. Heat, music, leather, noise. A guy from out of town leaned up on the counter where Milo washed glasses. Milo clocked the predatory smile instantly. "You're Ruth Stray, right?" Milo set the glass down with finality. "No." The guy cracked up. "Saint Stray, then." Milo's smile thinned to nothing. "I'm the person deciding if you get another drink." The guy leaned in. "Pretty mouth for a bookkeeper." Milo didn't freeze. That mattered. Anger flared, clean and sharp, the good kind. The guy reached for him. Saint moved, fast. One moment across the room, the next pinning the guy's wrist to the bar, breath hot in his ear. Touch him and lose the hand. The place went dead quiet. Milo's skin flushed hot. The man went sickly pale. Saint let him go. Out! The guy bolted. No one moved. Milo put down the towel and headed for the back hallway, heart hammering. Of course, Saint followed. Milo spun, fast enough to make Saint stop short. Don't! Worry creased Saint's brow. He was going to touch you. And I was going to break his thumb. Saint froze. Milo stepped closer. You didn't even let me try. Saint's expression twisted, searching. That wasn't... What? About me? Milo gave a tiny laugh. It never is when you do that. Milo spoke quieter, steadier, every word landing hard. I'm not 16 anymore. Saint's reaction was small, a flinch, a swipe of pain across his eyes. But Milo saw it. I know that. Do you? Milo pressed. Then why act like if you touch me I'll break? Saint's hands curled. Because I remember carrying you in from the rain. Milo's anger flickered but kept burning. So do I. That kind of thing doesn't leave. It doesn't, Milo agreed, but it's not all I am. Saint shut his eyes. The two of them filled the too warm hallway, tension thick as old smoke. Look at me, Milo said. Saint did. And this time Milo saw all of it. Want, fear, love, or whatever shade they weren't brave enough to name yet. Milo's voice softened. Do you want me? The tremor rippled across Saint's face. Milo. Answer me. No. It stung. Even though Milo recognized Saint's stubbornness, Saint's voice roughened. No, I don't get to answer that while you're angry. God, that was so like him. Careful, too controlled, always the one keeping feelings on a leash. I'm not a kid. I know. Then stop deciding what I can handle. Saint edged closer, then checked himself. I am trying not to be another man who takes from you. Something inside Milo cracked. He finally understood. Saint wasn't running from Milo. He was terrified. Of himself, of screwing up the past by wanting something now. He was afraid one wrong touch would shatter trust they'd built scratch by scratch. You don't get to decide my choices equal damage. Milo's voice dropped to a near whisper. Saint looked at him, tired and raw. Milo held his gaze. I have a life. I worked, went to therapy, paid rent, ride my own bike, say no when I mean no, yes when I mean yes. His voice broke for a second, and I'm saying yes to you. Saint looked like he'd been punched. You might change your mind. Then I'll tell you. You might realize, Saint. He shut up. Milo closed the space between them. I'm not asking you to save me. Saint's breath shook. I know. I'm asking you to see me. On Saint's face, something broke. Just a flash. Milo caught it. Saint whispered, I see you. Everything shifted. Milo almost touched him, almost crossed that invisible line. Saint caught his wrist, gentle, not restraining, but pausing time. Dinner, Saint said, sudden and awkward. Milo blinked. What? A date. Somewhere else. No club. No pressure, no touching unless we both ask, no hiding. If you regret it or want out, I won't make you stay. Milo stared and then grinned. You're asking me out? Saint looked stricken. Trying to. Soft laughter spilled from Milo and Saint's shoulders dropped. Okay, Milo said. Saint breathed out, surprise and relief. Okay. Yes, dinner. Milo inched closer just enough to see Saint tense. But Adrian, Saint froze in his tracks. Only Milo used the real name when it counted. Don't wear the scary president face, Milo teased. Saint's mouth twitched. This is my only face. Tragedy. Milo brushed past him, nerves zinging. For once, that ache felt electric, alive. Their first date? Disaster. Saint picked a steakhouse 2 towns away, trying to avoid club eyes. Didn't work. Half the restaurant knew him anyway. The hostess nearly fainted. The waiter called him Sir, like Saint might pull rank on the prime rib. Milo ordered pasta to provoke a reaction. Saint eyed the plate. I respect your choices. You look betrayed. That cow died for nothing. Milo lost it, laughing until the waiter dropped a fork. But Saint just looked at him. The soft kind of look. The kind that made Milo want to laugh and weep, both. Like Milo's laughter was something precious you didn't dare scare away. They walked by the river after, leaving the world of bikes and patched jackets behind, just men, street lights, summer air. Saint broke the silence. I need to say something. Milo's gut did a little flip. Okay. I care about you. I cared before, but not like this. Back then I just wanted to keep you safe. That was all. Milo nodded. I know. Saint insisted. I need you to know. I do. Saint exhaled hard. Now I care in a way that scares me. Milo stepped in, closing the distance. I care too. Their eyes met. I won't be easy, Saint warned. Milo almost smiled. I know. I get controlling when I'm scared. I know. I've done things. I know. Saint's voice softened. You deserve someone clean. Milo's smile faded. No. Saint's brow wrinkled. Milo. No. I deserve honesty. Kindness. Not someone afraid of stains. Clean is for people who think scars are shameful. Saint's silence ran deep. Milo reached out, found his hand. Saint let him. Their fingers threaded. Slow, careful. Milo stared at their hands. Are you going to kiss me? Saint's body went still. Do you want me to? Yes. Saint finally turned toward him and waited. So Milo leaned in first, kissed him softly, trembling and brave. Saint didn't rush, didn't grab, didn't push. His hand touched Milo's face, only when Milo leaned into it, his thumb tracing a promise. The kiss deepened, something sweet and new curling in Milo's chest and spreading out. Saint pulled back first, pressing his forehead to Milo's. Still okay, he breathed. Milo laughed, shaky. You're going to ask a lot, aren't you? Yes? Good. Saint's hand trembled. Milo trapped it with his own. Still okay, he whispered. Saint kissed him again. This time Milo tasted want. Real and open, not dangerous, but a door he could step through. Their relationship grew slowly, not for lack of heat, but because history hung around. They learned how to be together, dinners after close, coffee before Milo's night classes, night rides where they argued about pie or nothing at all. Saint kept fixing things in Milo's apartment, all silent competence, until Milo nearly changed the locks in protest. You can't keep repairing my life for every leaky pipe, Milo complained. Saint, sprawled under the sink, replied, It was leaking. I would have called the landlord. Landlord takes 3 days. That's not the point. Milo glowered as Saint slid out, looking disheveled and far too tempting. Don't look good while I'm mad. Saint blinked, then he smiled. Unfair. No, Milo declared. No? No smiling. This is a boundaries conversation. Saint's face softened, voice warm. You're right. That always threw Milo. Dad never said that. Saint said it like truth didn't hurt. I like when you help. I don't like when you decide I need help before I ask. Saint nodded. I'll ask first. Thank you. Can I finish the sink? Milo sighed. Yes. Saint's mouth twitched. A betrayal. Milo flung a dish towel at him. Saint caught it. Later, after the sink was fixed, they sprawled on the couch with takeout and a mindless movie. Milo leaned in. Saint stiffened and then relaxed. You can touch me, Milo said. Saint looked down, eyes hungry and uncertain. I know. Do you? He glanced up, and something real passed between them. I'm learning. Milo kissed him. Saint answered softly, slow and deep, until the movie faded and Milo wound up half in his lap, fingers tangled in Saint's hair. Saint's hands gripped gently at Milo's waist, solid, grounding. Milo loved the steadiness, that he could stop, that sometimes he didn't want to. Saint's mouth on his neck made Milo shiver. Saint froze. Milo caught his face. Good shiver. A flush started under Saint's collar. Yeah? Yeah. The next kiss wasn't so careful, not reckless, just full of years of holding back that could finally let go. When Milo pulled back, gasping, saying, enough for tonight, Saint stopped without a whiff of frustration. He only asked, do you want tea? Milo laughed, breathless. You're ridiculous. I'm excellent. So tea because I stopped kissing you. Saint pressed a kiss into Milo's hair. Tea because you like it. Milo's heart thumped. Real love, he guessed, was built on that. Tepid mugs after stopping, steady hands that listened, a man who never made Milo's desire feel like a dead. But the past never really stayed dead. Milo's father, Darren Richmond, made bail after months. The news dropped by email mid-morning at the garage, Ghost bickering with a supplier on speakerphone. Darren Richmond released under conditions. No contact order remains active. Report violations immediately. Milo stared until his vision fuzzed. Close the email, open payroll. Ghost caught the sudden chill. Milo? I'm fine. Ghost raised a skeptical eyebrow. You said that like you're about to do something insane. I'm fine. He wasn't. He told no one, not Elena, not Ruth. Absolutely not Saint. He went through the motions, school, work, sleep, checking locks, flinching at shadows in parking lots. 2 days of it before Saint caught him after midnight in the garage dissecting a carburetor that didn't need fixing. Milo. The name broke him open. He kept working. Saint stopped short of the workbench glow. What happened? Nothing. He didn't let it go. Don't do that. Do what? Disappear while standing right there. Milo slammed the screwdriver down. He's out. Saint's entire body braced for violence. You could see it. Old pain flaring to life. That's why I didn't tell you, Milo snapped. Saint's jaw worked. When? Tuesday. You knew for 2 days? Yes. And you didn't tell me? No, because I knew you'd look like that. Like what? Like you're already planning a secret grave. Saint looked away, caught. Milo's chest was burning. I can't do that. Be with someone who turns my fear into their violence. A slow, pained admission, and it hit hard. Saint flinched. That just made Milo angrier at himself. Saint folded onto a crate, shoulders slack. You're right, Saint said quietly. Milo lost steam. Saint rubbed his face, raw honesty finally slipping through. I want to kill him, he said. I won't, but I want to. The admission sounded like it cost something. Milo slid onto the crate facing him. That one is mine, not yours. Not yours to carry. Not something I get to call protection if it makes you afraid of me. Milo swallowed 1,000 feelings. I'm not afraid of you. Saint's mouth twisted. You're afraid of what I could do. Milo said nothing. There wasn't a way to deny it without lying. Saint nodded. I'll call Elena in the morning. Ruth, too. We'll check the order, set up cameras, legal steps, stuff that doesn't land me behind bars and you hating yourself. Milo's head spun. You can do that? I can try. Milo stared at his own hands. I hate that he still makes me feel like a kid. Saint leaned forward. You're 20. You've got your own place, your keys, your money, your bike, your voice. Saint's eyes demanded his attention. He can scare you. He can't own you. Milo choked on tears. He moved first, body colliding against Saint, who finally put an arm around him, solid and measured. I should have told you. Yeah. You're supposed to say it's fine. It's not. But we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. That was still the saving phrase. Not shame, not panic. Just two people handling a mess, reality and all. Winter bit back, turning up the fear. It started almost small. Suspicious truck in the lot. Blocked calls, some idiot just breathing down the line. A dead bird dropped on the garage steps. Saint wanted Milo in the clubhouse. Milo refused. So they compromised. Cameras, new locks, Bear crashing on his couch, Tasha drilling him on pepper spray, Ruth's daily texts, half threats, half pep talk. But then came the van. Milo left night class and saw it waiting, engine running, no plates, blue paint he couldn't place. His gut knew before his brain did. Side door slid open. Man appeared. Milo ran. This time, not like a lost kid. This time, full force, ready to survive. Someone caught the back of his coat. Milo twisted, broke free, felt hands on his arm. He slammed an elbow into. The trial wasn't just one thing. It was a whole stack of legal messes strung together so tightly that Milo eventually gave up trying to keep track of what anything was called. Darren had busted the protection order. The guys in the van, yeah, they were ghosts from old debts and rotten deals. Some charges landed, some didn't. Some people disappeared before they ever saw a courtroom. Some did whatever they had to in order to save their own skin. Milo only had to testify once. Once was plenty. The courtroom stank of polish and paperwork. His dad looked smaller, but no less frightening, as if hate could still yank Milo by the neck. Cheap suit, cold eyes, staring at Milo like he might still control him. Milo's hands wouldn't sit still. Saint sat behind him, steady as ever. Elena was right there with Ruth, both grounding the space with their presence. Bear was stuffed into a jacket that strained at the shoulders and started crying before Milo even got to the stand. The lawyer fired questions. Milo shot back answers. Not everything, just what mattered. He didn't owe them the full story. He talked about the fear, the injuries, the sprint into the night, but he didn't map every shadow in that house. He spoke about the calls, the threats, the men in the van. Enough. Then the defense tried to paint him unstable, but Milo held tight to the witness stand, locked eyes with the jury, and just said, I was scared. That doesn't mean I was confused. Silence flooded the room. Afterward, in the hallway, Milo brushed past Darren without looking, until Darren said his name, just once, flat and sharp. Milo. Saint was a sentry at his back, close, but holding the line. Milo turned. Darren's face was pale, knotted with anger. You think they love you? He hissed. People like that don't love. They use you. You'll see. Once those words would have eaten at him for months, maybe longer. Now they bounced off the armor he'd built from all the proof he carried. Nights at Elena's sunny house, Ruth's reliable hands, Bear's ridiculous soup, Ghost's balanced books, Tasha's bat under the bar, Saint always asking, "Are you sure?" Milo gave a half smile. "You don't know anything about love," he told him. Then he turned away. Saint fell in step beside him. Outside the courthouse, reporters shouted questions. Milo ignored them. Ruth tied a scarf around his neck. Bear nearly squeezed the air from his lungs. Elena kissed his forehead. Saint hung back, waiting, always waiting until Milo turned to him. "Take me home?" Milo asked. Saint's face softened. "Which one?" Milo glanced at the Saints on their bikes, Elena's car idling by the curb. Home wasn't an address anymore. It was a collection of people, a road he could walk without running, a choice. "The clubhouse," Milo said. "I want everyone." Saint's smile was warm and crooked. "Then everyone you'll have." The night Milo and Saint finally crossed the last line between wanting and having, Milo was the one who locked the door. They'd been together nearly a year. A whole year of slow dates and louder fights, fixing bikes and running to court, glancing at calendars covered with therapy appointments, and planning road trips between work, mornings made quiet with coffee, nights where kissing ended where it started if Milo said stop or Saint did. A year of figuring out that longing could be gentle, that love could wait and not turn bitter, that even a body trained by fear could learn to recognize joy again. Saint waited by the window, rain streaking silver against the darkness, looking almost shy. Milo loved that, not because he wanted Saint to flinch, but because Saint understood the weight of what they were about to do. Milo crossed the room. "Adrian." Saint glanced up. "You can still change your mind," he said, a soft smile. "So can you." Saint snorted quietly. "I won't." "Neither will I." Milo laid his hand over Saint's chest. Saint's breath caught. For a moment they didn't move. Downstairs, the clubhouse was dead quiet. Everyone had graciously vanished. Bear loudly took Ghost bowling, an obvious lie. Ruth threatened death on anyone who came back early. Milo stood on his toes, kissed Saint slow, deep. Saint's hands found Milo's waist, still asking, always asking. Finally, Milo pressed Saint's hands a little tighter to his own body. "I want you," he breathed. Saint's eyes darkened. "I want you too." The truth buzzed through Milo like fire. They undressed each other in pauses and bursts of laughter. Saint touched every scar like it was a hidden landmark, grateful for the trust. Milo brushed his fingers over an old knife scar on Saint's shoulder and felt him shiver. "You too?" Milo whispered. Saint's eyes met his. "Me too." That cracked something sweet and raw between them. This wasn't rescue, wasn't owing anything, wasn't a man saving another man. It was two rough-edged people picking tenderness when the world had handed them violence and loss. Anytime Milo needed a moment, Saint stopped. Whenever Saint looked like he might come unstuck, Milo kissed the worry until it vanished. They moved together with care and hunger and reverent silence, speaking in hands and laughter, saving the details for just themselves. While rain covered the window and the room stayed golden and warm, their only world shrank to breath, skin, and soft, chosen yes. After, Milo lay listening to Saint's heartbeat under his ear. Saint ran gentle fingers through Milo's hair. "You okay?" Saint asked quietly. Milo grinned against his chest, still asking. Saint's voice was barely a breath. "Forever." Milo stretched up, looked at him. "Good." For once, Saint seemed the one startled by the idea of forever. Milo pressed kisses across his chest, then jaw, then mouth's corner. "I love you," Milo said, settling the words down like they belonged there. Saint froze, afraid, just for a second. Then he grabbed Milo's head, gentle but shaking, like he was clinging to something precious. "I love you too," he choked out. "God, Milo, I love you too." Milo curled back against him and wasn't magically fixed. Didn't need to be. He was loved, and that was better. 2 years later, Milo stood in the garage office, smudged with grease, pens stuck behind his ear, fantasizing about murder. "Ghost, if you reorganize my filing system one more time, I'm putting sugar in your gas tank." Ghost looked offended. "You call that a filing system?" This was paperwork's tragic afterlife. It was organized by urgency. More like organized by vibes. Milo brandished the pen at him. "My vibes keep this place alive." From somewhere on the shop floor, "Milo, your man is scaring the paint supplier." Milo groaned. Then Saint's voice, flat as ever, echoed in. "He called Pearl white, and Bone white the same." Bear shouted back, "See? You're scaring him." Milo left the office. The garage was awash in afternoon sun, bikes along the wall, a half-gutted car in Bay 3, the air thick with oil and rubber and rain about to burst. Saint stood by the big open doors, phone in hand, expression as readable as a locked safe. The supplier sounded near tears on the other end. Milo took the phone, his voice easy. "Hey, Gary, it's Milo. Yeah, sorry." "No, he wasn't threatening you. That's just how he sounds." Saint glared. Milo grinned. Once Gary was soothed, Milo handed back the phone. "You're not allowed to call vendors anymore." Saint folded his arms. He was wrong. You terrify people when they're wrong. They should know better. Milo rolled his eyes. Then he spotted Tasha drifting in with Ruth. That was interesting. Ghost wandered out as if he hadn't been eavesdropping. Bear was suddenly wiping suspiciously teary eyes. Milo squinted, looking around. "What's with all the weird energy?" "No reason," Tasha answered, Ruth trying not to smile. He turned to Saint, who suddenly looked jumpy. Milo's heart stuttered. "Adrian?" Saint's Adam's apple bobbed. "I had a plan," he confessed. Milo stared. "Had?" "Lost it." Bear made a choked noise. Ghost muttered, "Shame." Ruth elbowed him. Saint stepped closer, took Milo's hand. The whole garage went pin-drop silent. Outside, thunder rolled. Saint's eyes, those pale gray ones Milo first saw in the rain, held him. Everything around them was different now. No more blood, no more running, no more fear, just the life and family they'd chosen. "I loved you carefully first," Saint said, voice steady but rough. "Then honestly, then completely. You taught me protection without choice is just another kind of cage. You taught me that being gentle doesn't mean being weak. You taught me home is something you can build out of people if nobody hands it to you." Milo blinked and found his eyes full. Saint traced slow circles over his knuckles. "I don't want to own your life. I just want to be invited into it day after day as long as you'll have me." Bear let out a sob. "Bear," Ruth growled. "I'm emotional," he sniffed. Ignoring the background chaos, Saint bent down on one knee and opened a small black box. The ring inside, dark metal trimmed in silver, looked like a road vanishing into night. "Milo Richmond," Saint said, the words a little shaky. "Will you marry me?" Milo stared at the man who once found him broken in the rain, the man who had never asked rescue as payment, the one who waited, who learned, who loved him with open hands. Milo hit his knees, too, right in front of him, and cupped his face between both hands. Yes. Saint exhaled. Relief written across his whole body. Milo kissed him. The noise that followed was chaos. Bear sobbing, Tasha cheering, Ghost declaring it a workplace hazard, Ruth blinking away tears and pretending she didn't. Saint laughed into Milo's mouth, and Milo drank in the sound. He took in Saint's laugh lines, the glint of silver at his temples, the scar on his lip, the hands that had learned gentleness instead of violence. Outside, it started raining, soft at first, building to a drumming that filled the whole shop. Milo stared past Saint and for just a second saw himself, as he was years before, a lonely boy in the storm, broken and raw, ready to give up. Then Saint's hand squeezed his. That memory faded away. He wasn't that boy anymore. He still loved him, still carried that version of himself gently. But he wasn't trapped there. Not anymore. He had the Iron Saints roaring around him, his found family, his real home, his freedom. Saint slid the ring onto his finger and it settled perfectly in place. Milo grinned through the tears. Once he'd stumbled into the clubhouse because he had no place to go. Now he stood there with a whole future waiting just beyond the rain. No more owed debts. No more locked doors. No hands reaching back to drag him under. Just love. Just choice. Just the open road ahead. And this time, Milo wasn't running from anywhere. He was finally, truly riding.